Okay, gonna do our wheel try now. Trim stand. That keeps the grease off my fingers when I pick it up. It's a universal arbor, so you just unscrew the nuts and screw it on the other side. Has a taper on it so it hits up against the Timken bearings. This is not the one you use for star hubs, but these aren't really star hubs anymore. They're Timken hubs. Okay, so we're going to try the one wheel here first. Now this one here wasn't dragging real bad, so we'll see how bad this one is on offset. I don't know really what it's going to be until I put it in the bike. So for now, I'll have to figure it out. Make sure that you got a spacer that does not hit on the seal or don't work right. Make sure it goes in all the way. That's another spacer, and then we put the nut on it. Put the spacer on there so I don't have to go so far. Okay. I'm going to torque the nuts down a little bit. A little bit snug. And I put my hammer away. Gonna square up the bearings so I got a little more clearance in them. Freeze them up a little bit. Okay, this has a tire on it, which makes it kind of hard to do. You have to figure out where you adjust which one of these you're going to use. Obviously these aren't going to fit. So I'm going to use a different one. Here's some specialty ones I've made before in the past. Okay, so you take your straight edge right here, down here, and you get close to your rim. So you can see I can't quite make it to the rim. I run out of room here. So I need to take one of these spacers out up here and move it. You take one of these spacers out and move it to the other side. Don't have room to do it. Have to move the wheel over further. Or I got to flip it 180, so I'm going to flip it 180 because this side's only got one spacer on it. Just out of the way. Put that back tight again, and at least loosened up. Alright, try it again. This time we got plenty of room on this side. Probably a little bit too close now. Okay, so now we got our straight edge right here. Or not a straight edge, but our finger we're going to use for checking this. Yeah, see, now I can't move it over enough. One problem, we got another problem. Okay, I have to file this down a little bit. I got this burr on here, I can't move it over further. So. Knock it down. Actually, I wasn't a bird, I was a big wad of crap. Probably another reason why it doesn't go in, it's bent. Okay, alright, now I got full movement now. Put the wheel back where it belongs. Okay, now we move our straightedge down. And you can hear it how it's not hitting evenly. Okay. Switch sides over here. I got to take this camera off of here to show you what's going on. Alright, so here's your straight edge way down here. So you can see how it's just hitting right here on the curve. See a big whoop-de-doo right there. So it goes from hitting to not hitting. You can hear it. This whole area is low right there, and then it comes back hard. So what's going on right here? You have to figure out why it's like that. Now it could be that's where the rim's welded together at. On this side of the wheel I can't tell. My guess that is probably where the two halves are welded together. Because that's a big low spot right there. Kind of like they were grinding the weld off and ground too much. So that's why you don't work on the outside, you work on the inside where it matters. But when the tire's on the bike, you can't do much. The other thing is we're looking for up and down, so that's how much this goes up and down this way. So you can see how this one's pretty even. So I just do a little bit of fine tuning right there. You can listen to the drag of this on there. I'm going to get that more even doing that. So, back over here. So we have our factory wrench right here. We'll see if this fits on the nipples. Oh, that's really tight there. Look at that. No drag at all on these. Now before you do anything on the tire, make sure there's no air in the tube. Because if you have air in the tube, when you rotate the nipple, you can bore a hole right through the tube. And it does make them leak when you put holes in tubes. Okay, so this whole wheel is loose right now. And when you tighten up this side of the spokes here, it pulls the rim this way. It makes this noise harder. Hear the difference? If it's too much, back off. So these two right here are loosen up the one. There you go. See, it hits right there. It barely hits everywhere else. That's pretty even. Okay, next thing we'll look at our offset. So I have different straight edges I use. for doing this. So here's my normal one I use here, which is a pretty long one. This is a little bit shorter one here, still pretty long. And then we got a really short one for when you got tires on it, or smaller diameter parts. So what I'm doing is I'm coming off of my rim. So I can't use this one here, we're on the tire. So I'm going to come off the outside flange here and see what my gap is to my rim over here. And see how consistent it is. Okay, then I go on the other side of the wheel to the other flange and I see where it's at. See how even that is. It's got about 80 to 100 thou overlap. Excuse me. So they're pretty equal. So what we're looking at is right here. We're looking at these, see how centered the rim here is to the hub up here. Now this wheel seems to be pretty well centered up. It's pretty damn close. So when you come off your flange up here, you see the gap on the rim right there. And you rotate your wheel, and you want to be kind of about the same all the way around. And you come over this side over here, switch hands, and so we come off this side up here, this flange, and you look down here and you do the same thing, and you can see how the gap is very similar. You rotate it, and you look down there and you see what it is. So it's pretty even or straight. Now when you put your wheels on the bike, you like to offset them a little bit away from your sprocket side on this side or drum side. And I always go a little bit more on this side, a 1/16 to up 1/8 of an inch, but about 1/16 is all I do. So basically I'm kicking the wheel this way a little bit to give you a little more chain clearance. Now this here's the front wheel, so it should be centered, but we don't know what it is on the bike until we put it on the bike down there. I don't know where that wheel is. And we're putting this one on that one, so we don't know where this one's at. I do know these spokes are a little bit loose. So basically I want to keep the wheel more or less centered where it is right now. So I'm going to tighten all of these nipples equally. I'm going to go one flat at a time, all the way around. You start the valve stem hole, wherever that is. Somewhere's the valve stem, there it is. Valve stem's right here. I'll start here. We'll just start tightening these all down, all the way around, until we come back around to this, and we'll stop. We'll check to see how the true is, if it's moved any. If it looks good and the nipples still feel a little loose, I'll go one more time around, do it one more flat. And I'll keep doing that until they get all tight. Now if I want to move the wheel one way or the other, I just tighten up this one side of the spokes, not the other side. So I'm always going tighter because I want the wheels nice and tight. The spokes very tight. The tighter the spokes are, the stronger that wheel is. If you got loose spokes, you got a floppy wheel. We don't want that. Okay, so we're going to go one flat all the way around. And we're also going to see if there's any loose ones in here, and if there's any of them that are rusted solid where they don't move. So that's a tight one. See, this one here was loose, this one was tight. Hear it? So that one's harder than this one. So when I come back around, I'll be tightening just the one, not the second one. This time I'm going to try to do all. See, that's a loose one there. That one's a lot tighter. That one's loose, tighter. So kind of be a common occurrence right now. You know, you want to try to get these all as much torque on all of them as you can get, and have equal pressure. I'm going to go on the other side of the wheel and do the other side. These seem to be consistently tighter on this side than that side. Okay, one time around, all the way around. Wheel still seems to be good. So this side here is looser than the other side. So as I tighten these up, the wheel's going to naturally want to pull this way a little bit more, which is all right. So Go ahead and do this one more time. So it's tight. That one's tight. Tight. Getting there. Getting there. Loose. Good. Tight. Good. A bit loose. Tight. Tight. Ooh, real tight. Not that tight. Just got these changes you go around. Okay, that's good. Back on this side. That's really tight. Yeah, we're not going to tighten this other side much more. They're getting pretty tight on some of those. Now when they get so tight they won't move, you got to move on to the next one. You can't keep tightening it. You have to come back and reach through the wheel to compensate for that one. You couldn't tighten it further because it was already too damn tight. Okay. You can hear it's still pretty even and close. I don't know if you can pick that up or not, but it's still pretty even. Okay, and I'm going to do it again. These are still going one more. These are getting pretty tight though. You want to make sure you got your wrench all the way on that nipple, or it breaks the nipple. If you over torque the nipple, it just squashes on you and then it's kind of screwed up. Yeah, see, that one won't go any tighter. I'm stopping. That one still went all the way. See, that one won't go. That one's pretty good. Pretty tight. Alright, those are getting pretty snug. We'll do the other side. Let's see, where's the rest of them? That one's done. Yeah. Tight. Okay, pretty tight. So from here to here we're not really touching, but we're close. So I'm going to go ahead and give it just a little bit more torque. That one's really tight. That's not too tight. That one's real tight. So you hear it's kind of even. I went a little bit more on the. It's definitely a bit tighter when I just did it. It's a little bit close. You can hear it. It's pretty good. And they're getting real tight. Now when the spokes get tight, they start talking to you. So they start ringing more. See how they got a good ring to them? And these are pretty tight. See how that one has a little dull to it? Now when they touch another spoke, they kind of get dull too, but you can definitely hear the ringiness to them. So that's another way of telling how tight a spoke is without turning the nipple. Just listen to it. So anyway, this wheel's pretty darn tight. It should still be square. In fact, didn't change that any. About the same. Check it on the other side. Yep. Apply about an extra 20 thou more to the right here now, so that's okay. It went the direction I like anyway. Like I said, on the front wheel, we don't know if we're like that or not. We'll have to find out when we put it up on the bike. If it's a little bit too far one way or the other, we'll go back and tighten up or loosen the spoke. If I tighten all this one side and tighten this side up all one flat, it'll move over a good 30 thou at least doing it that way, maybe 50 thou. Depends on how much torque on everything is. Anyway, you can play around with it quite a bit. So this wheel's pretty good right now where it is. So we're going to take it out of the stand and we're going to do the other wheel. Now we know this one's pretty much centered. And we know the other one rubs like crazy, so I'm going to see the difference in the two. That'll tell me where we're at. Okay, I need to move this over this way a little bit more. Okay. I'm readjusting my arbor up here a little bit. Okay. Now you can do the same thing inside of your fork or your swing arm. All you gotta do is have a place to put a pointer. It does not have to be in a trillion stand to do this stuff. Okay, where's the other wheel? Okay, so here's the other wheel, which we know is way the hell off. Okay, let's see where we're at here. Now this one we can use the regular pointers on the bottom down here. Because now instead of being up here on top of the ram like this one is, I can be on the bottom. Get that pointer out of the way. And this pointer's not long enough to get up on a 16, so I gotta take this out and swap these around. So take this one out. Take this longer one here and move it up the next hole up. I don't have enough length to get to the bottom of the rim. Okay, we're good. Turn it up a little bit. So the rim has a little bit of up and down to it. Something's rubbing someplace. Right here it's rubbing. Not sure what that's rubbing on. Definitely a tight spot in there somewhere. My guess is the cover here is a little bit too close. It's rubbing into it. So we can go ahead and re-center the cover here a little bit. See if the problem goes away. now better. Let's see if that got it. Alright, that drag part. Now that I got that rubbing part has gone away now. That rotates without having that high spot in there. Okay. This rim has a little bit up and down in it. Now if you take a white surface and stick it in front of your wheel here, you can see things a lot better. Right now you can watch it go up and down. See how it bounces up and down on you? So side to side is pretty good. We have a little bit of an up and down to it. Up and down is a little bit harder to get out. I can get down where I can see what I'm doing on the bottom down here. The stool's a little bit too high, but drop you down here also. Okay, so now we got our straight edge here, our pointer. Now instead of going off the outside of the rim where it's not straight, you go on the inside where it should be a lot closer to what you need. So right now you got your pointer right here. And you watch the side to side and the up and down. You can put the pointer against the edge here, or you can put it against the top up here, depending on what you want to check. You just tap it until it touches. See where it just touches there? So you can hear the high spots. Not too bad. See, side to side is not too bad. Okay, now you loosen up and go the rim has a little bit of a dimple right here, or I mean a little bit of radius to it. You come off the radius up there. A little bit more. So we're looking right down here right now. See how it goes up and down, bouncy, bouncy, bouncy. So we need to work on that. The next thing we got to figure out is a straight edge, what we got for our center. So instead of using this little short one like I was using before, I can use a long one. Like this one, because I don't have a tire in the way. And I come off my edge and I look at it. Now before, this edge was on the inside of the rim. So right now you can see how we got a big gap right here. There you go. We have a gap right here right now. We got probably 3/16 of an inch in there. So that's how far this rim has moved over. Now you go over on this side, and it's the opposite. We have a big gap between the hub and the rim right here. So what we got to do now is get this thing centered up by moving it this way, and we got to move it over quite a bit. So, and we also have a little bit of up and down we got to deal with. So the first thing I want to do, I want to get the offset kind of over where it belongs. Then we'll deal with the up and down. I don't know how tight these spokes are, so now I get to figure out how tight everything is. That's a whole other issue. So we start with a hole right here. We start as a reference point. So the reference point on here is going to be our valve stem hole. Now I want to go this direction here, so if I try to tighten these, I'm just tightening the other side. So I need to go to the other side and loosen those up and then tighten these up. So I'm going to loosen those up 2 flats over there, and I'm pulling back this way 2 flats. Hopefully they all move. That one does not like moving. That one doesn't like to move either. Now this one here has a wheel weight on it, so I gotta get rid of that wheel weight. One's gone. Uh-oh. There it goes. One. A little rusty and a little tight. Ah. There, another one. Okay, that's one time around. Okay, let's see how much of a gain we got. And we moved not much. So I'm going to loosen up a couple more. When I get to the real tight ones, I'm going to give them an extra flat. And then we're going to do this again over here. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3 on the tight one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. 2. 2. 2. The next one. Okay. Up and down the same. Okay, now we take our straight edge and check our edge again. Still not moved much. Okay, we're still way off on our movement. Okay, so now we go ahead and tighten this side up here. We should be able to tighten them up 3 flats probably. We undid 4 to 5 on the other side. So let's see what we get here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's getting tight. 1, 2, 3. It's tight at 2, so I'm stopping. Tight. The biggest thing about truing is whatever you do the same as much as you can all the way around. That one's loose, so we can go 4 on that one. Another loose one. 4. 3, it's getting tight. Another loose one. Last one. 2. And 3. Okay. Check our offset now. Okay, so now I can get that where I can see with it. And you can see how we're just now above the surface here. Can't hold it at these angles. So right here's where we're looking. So you can see how I got a fingernail right here. As you rotate it, you gain a couple fingernails worth in there. And we should be inside, not flush. So we got to do the same thing again. So we got half of what we need. Now we go back and get the other half. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen up the other side again. I'm going to give them a good 3 flats all the way across on that side. Going to find our stem hole here. Now, if you only tighten certain spokes and go a little at a time, you start making a lot of wobbles and stuff in the rim, and it gets hard to get it all out. So you want to try to keep things fairly even, so you don't run into those problems of having a bunch of loose ones and a bunch of tight ones. Okay. Rim is still fairly true, which is good. That means we're working pretty even. Okay, now we see what we got here for our offset. And finally starting to hit on the rim now. Still got a good 1/80 thou on the other side of the gap. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and move these over. I'm going to go a couple flats this time. And let things kind of center themselves up a little bit. It's better to take a couple laps around the wheel instead of doing it all at one. Some of these are loose, some of these are tight. So the next time around we'll get them more even on the torque. That one was loose. That one was loose, I gave it 3 flaps. Okay. Starting to get a little bit side to side right now on it. Not too bad yet, but it's getting there. Okay, right now we are pretty much even. Okay, so at this point we're pretty even. So we're at a neutral point. Now I want to move it a little bit more this way. Same deal, I want to have room for this chain on that side. So now I'm going to start tightening these up some more, and I'm not going to tighten the other side right now. Okay, I'm going to go just 1 flat all the way around. See kind of what they feel like. That one's getting pretty snug. I'm going to go ahead and back that one off. Now there might be just the nipples all rusty, or they might be actually loose, I'm not sure. whatever it is, we'll catch up with it here next time around. We'll see what happens. Okay, that's one time. Back next run. I'm going to start catching tights and loose. And you see when I'm doing this, the spoke doesn't want to turn on the nipple don't want to turn on the spoke because it's rusty. So it's not tight per se, it's a lot of drag on the thread. So you have to compensate for that when you're tightening them. You could try putting like WD-40 in there, might help a little bit. Won't hurt, I bet. Okay, that's one time around. Getting a good gap going there now. Okay, now we got a good 80 thou offset this way now. So now I'm going to tighten this other side of the wheel up one flat because I'm getting too much this way now. Okay, where's that hole? There's my hole. So I come back here and start tightening these. All of these are pretty loose over here because we've been loosening up this side quite a bit. Even though I'm pulling it that other way, they don't always pull back the same amount. So this is probably going to pull back quite a bit to our left here a little bit, which is alright because I'm way over right now. And there we go. Okay, check it again. Okay, right now it's about where I want it to be. I got about 30 thou offset on this side, which is kind of where I want it to be. So I'm going to go ahead and pull one more flat on this side. There's probably going to be some tights and loose ones in here, so if they're tight I'm not going to pull them too much if they don't want to be pulled. It's a judgment call on what tight is. That's that bad one. Getting pretty tight on that one. That's definitely tight. So these are fairly even on the torque. They're all pretty tight. That one's tight. I come on the other side, do the same thing. Where's that hole at? Way down there. That's getting tight. So now the ring is starting to get pretty darn tight on the spokes now. And they're pretty evenly torqued all the way around. Alright, we got good torque now. Okay, now I got a little bit of wobble in there. Not too bad, but a little bit. You can watch it. And we gotta go figure it up and down. Now up and down is harder to get out than side to side, so let's go work on the up and down first. So right now it's hitting right here, which just happens to be right where the valve stem is. That's where they punch the metal in and get it nice and out around. Almost everything went away. So the pointer was too loose, it moved up on me too much. There we go. Big enough drag, you can hear something. Okay, so we're all low from here. That's high. Low. That's all low. From here to here is all low. So easy what you do, you split the difference. Hit. Hit. So these two fans here, a fan is all of a group of 4 spokes. These here are all a little bit tight. The wheel's too high. So if you loosen these up here, the wheel will drop. And you go up 180 around, you tighten up the other side on top, the same amount. So you loosen these all up one flat, you go 180 over, do the same 8 spokes again, and loosen them. So I'll loosen these up one flat. See, I'm already hitting already just doing that. Now you hold your fan, you go up to the top. Here that's hitting heavy. Dragging real heavy here. So you go 180 down, drop down, you pick up the 8 down here. So you gotta tighten these 4 up, or these 8 here. One flat tight, and that one's pretty damn tight. Those are tight. These are all pretty stinking tight already. I need to pick up this 3rd group here. Okay. Try it again. These don't want to get very much tighter, but the ones that don't want to move, don't move them. The ones that do, move. You have to be the judge on what too tight is. When you start breaking nipples, you know it's too tight. Okay, so you're hitting there. Hitting there. Kind of a low spot now, right where I've been tightening. Okay, let's go check 180 around. See, that whole area now is not hitting on here. We actually picked up more area not hitting than we did in his. From there to there. So that's like half the wheel is being that way. So I'm going to go ahead and loosen up the whole group of these things. One nipple. Ooh, that one's really tight. Leave that one tight. This is down here that's tight. Oh, that one's really tight. Oh yeah, there's some tight ones in there. Oh yeah. And that's that bad nipple. Okay, go around over here and do it the other side. Do the same loosening trick. Okay. So here it's hopping all the way around now. It's pretty even now. So the up and down is pretty good. So if you look at the rim, down here you can watch it going twisty and up and down. So our up and down is pretty even, but we get a little bit of rock and roll going on side to side. Okay, so let's go work on our side to side. Let's go check our offset real quick while we're at it. See which way we need to go. Okay, the wheel needs to go to the left a little bit. So that tells me which way I'm going to tighten, which nipples I'm going to be tightening. I'm going to be tightening the ones on the right, the left side over here. Starting right here. So I don't know if you can see the pointer down in here, but hits right there. You can hear it. It's all big gap right through here. It hits again right there, about half the wheel. So you get the worst spot, which is right in this area here is our worst spot. So we loosen up this a little bit. We tighten over here a little bit. The rim will still stay the up and down the same because we're not changing the overall torque, we're just moving it. So you do two things at once. So pretty much these four right here, which is two full fans. I can loosen this side up a little bit. That nipple's not very tight, so I'm not going to loosen anymore. That one's pretty tight. That one's not tight, I'm leaving it. And this one is definitely stinking tight. You come over here and do the same thing. Find the loose ones and the tight ones. That one was loose. That one's tight. That one's okay. And that one's tight. Okay, so we worked on our big gap. Okay, now we're hitting really hard right here. Really hard. So this one here, we're going to loosen these up a little bit on this side. Those aren't very tight. I'm looking for one that's really tight, and we're not seeing it. Okay, now I go over here and tighten these up. See, this spoke here is loose, this one here is really tight. Next pair, that's pretty tight. That's really tight. That one's not too tight. And that one's trying to be tight. So it's hitting right here, but not here. So this one might be tight. And that one is tight too. You hear how it's pretty even all the way around. And then you look at it. You can see how the dance is, a lot of it's gone now. But we probably still need to go this way because I think the offset's too far that way right now. So let's go up here and look at it. Actually, it's centered up pretty nice. Actually, right now it's dead center. So you never know what it's going to do. See? So right now the rim is fairly tight, fairly even, but it needs to be some final torque on it. But I need to get up on the bike and see where our offset is, because I don't want to have it full tight and then try to do the offset. You get the offset center where you want it, and then you torque the snot out of all the nipples. So right now we're about 75% torqued to maybe 80%, probably 80% torque, so we're there. I can work a little bit more on a couple of these low spots here though. So I need to go this way a little bit, so I'm going to work on the, wherever I hear it, I'm going to tighten. Take a there. When the wrench doesn't want to go to nipples anymore, that's because the nipples are bending. Too much torque. So now I'm right in between these two here. Yeah. So worse first, it's heavier here. Hit it. And see, the other one went away because it wasn't the worst. Okay. So now you look down in here on the pointer. See how the rim's going pretty damn true right now. Really nice. And I don't know if you can see the gap right up in here. You see there's about a 30-second gap in there. We'll go ahead and check this side. It's about the same. Now the reason you're rotating is because this rim lip is not machined. It's as buffed, so it kind of goes in and out a little bit. So you're looking up here at your flanges, kind of an average. The flange is not machined either, so everything is an average of an average. So that's all you can hope for on these things. So like I said, this is just a chrome surface. This is just a chrome surface. As long as they're kind of bouncing around about the general ballpark area of what you're looking for, you should be close. So you can see right now the gap we got right now on this. And you come over here and look at this side. And you can see how this side here is a tick more than the other side. That's because that's what I want. But they're pretty even. Alright, so you spin the wheel, you can see how this side we've been truing on, which is this lip here, and this one here doesn't match. What do you want true? Which side of the rim? Because you can't do both. The rims are not 100% even. But you don't have a lot of up and down in there. Up and down is worse than side to side. And you see how the up and down is just almost non-existent. Before we had quite a bit. So anyway, that's how you do that. Now we can go ahead and put this up into the bike. We can get the swing arm up in the bike, which I'll probably do tomorrow. It's 10:30 now, so getting late. I already got the bearings packed right here. Swing arms on the floor down here. So they already got new bearings in it, so I gotta grease these up. And we'll go ahead and stick them up here into the bike tomorrow. So we'll stick it up here in the swing arm, put the pivot bolt in there, get it some torque on it. You want 3 pounds of drag on the swing arm is what you want. And then that'll be good for this part. Then I can go ahead and put the wheel in here, get the shocks up on here, and we can see where our offset's going to be, because we want to be in between the fender right here. Before, on the other bike, it was eating the hell out of the side of the bike over here. It just ate the whole side of the tire away, and it was way off. And you can see how we trued it up, it was way off. See, here's a tire right here. You can see how it's all rubbed off here on this side. The other side, it doesn't have that, it's black over here. So this thing was off 3/16 of an inch to the one side, and that took up all the clearance it had. So maybe as much as a 1/4 inch, hard to tell on the bike. Each bike's different, but you can see how that works after you work on it a little bit. These things can get trued up fairly easy. You just got to take your time and don't be afraid of it. Just start turning the wrench and see what happens. It helps to have a good wrench too, because if the wrench is not tight on this real tight, you will round off these nipples. But a little 4-inch crescent works pretty good on them. Buckets over here. I've done a lot of rims with a 4-inch crescent. Right here. It's hard to get as much torque with it because it's not as strong as a tool, but if you tighten it up really good and get it real tight down in there, you can pull on these things pretty good. If you look at the leverage difference between here and here, I got an extra inch. And if you watch how I was using it, I was tugging out here. You can see how this wrench is dirty in here and tight. It's clean here because it's where my thumb's on it all the time. So I can get a lot more torque with this wrench than this wrench. And your little combination wrenches are about the same length as this, so that's why I use the good tools. Alright, well that's it for tonight. So you got an idea how to do that. And like I said, once we get this centered up we want it, then we'll go ahead and put the tire back on it. So, one thing at a time. There you go.